challenge you to bet on yourself and dream a little bigger than yesterday. It's about that time, y'all. It's time for you to think higher, speak life, and know that same power.
Hi guys, welcome to our podcast for Unheard Voices. We have the lovely Nicola here to speak about body dysmorphia, and lovely Skate here, who's a sex therapist.
Yeah.
She will be discussing, what is it you're going to discuss?
Anything and everything. Whatever comes up.
Okay, Nicola, can you explain to us what body dysmorphia is?
So, body dysmorphia is no matter how much or how we look, in our head, we look totally different. So we see ourselves, I used to be a larger girl, I see myself still as that larger girl, no matter what I do, surgeries, training, absolutely everything, I still see the bigger person. So it doesn't seem to matter how you try, and it's in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But people will always be saying, oh, you look good, or you look great, stuff like that. We don't take that. We still take it as we're still that person that we was. And it's, for some reason, it's just embedded. It just doesn't seem to shift.
So you're a model. So as a model, how do you deal with that when you feel that?
So it was really mad because I got scouted to become a model, and at first I was a bit like, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. I did it, I entered the competition, I came first.
Oh, lovely.
So to me that was like massive, and then I thought actually I'm okay. So there's me thinking, well, my body dysmorphia is gone because I've managed to do that. And I've come where I came. And then as the months went on and the photographers are sending you your photos, it actually made the body dysmorphia worse because you're now analysing every single photo and thinking, is that what I look like? And it could be just a wrong angle. We all sit and we can have a stomach, we can not have a stomach. It's all posture, everything. And they can send one photo and it will send you back months. It's so disheartening. Sometimes we'll get our photos for it and we'll just cry our eyes out.
Oh,
and it doesn't matter how good they look.
Yeah.
In our head, we're just seeing the flaws instead of seeing, actually, these photos are
lovely.
Really nice.
Yeah. That's pretty sad, that is. So does it dishearten you when you go to another shoot? Like, do you think back of the previous photos that you've seen and think, oh, I don't know if I
It's
would
either when you go to a shoot and you have that backlash of thinking, oh my god, how them photos come out, are these going to come out? Or you see other girls and you see all these girls that are size 0, size 2, size 4 in a modelling world. That's what it used to be. And obviously now it's a lot more for curvy girls.
Yeah.
So I'm a 12, 14. I can go in there now and not feel as bad. But that makes you feel even worse because when they put someone like this next to someone like this, you then think you look like that. Yeah. And you don't, but that is in your head.
Yeah.
And you can't get past it. So that shoot will lead on to a bad shoot, to lead on to bad photos, and then it has such a knock-on effect. And it's just obviously trying to program your head. I thought by doing the modelling, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
This is it. And I felt great. Like, I was like, wow, it gave me confidence and everything. Slowly but surely, the confidence has gone. I probably cry after every shoot.
Oh, no.
We'll go back, we've got a group chat of the girls, and we all say things, and there's 3 of us in the group that actually suffer with body dysmorphia. And it's mad the things that we pick up on. But yet we could get 200 praises from one shoot, and we don't take that. We take the 2 or 3 little negatives, and that's it. It's in our head.
So how do you get out of it? What do you do? Have you got like a coping mechanism?
To be honest with you, you don't really get out of it. It's about keep pushing yourself and pushing yourself and pushing yourself, but nothing changes. You're still going to look at those pictures. You're still going to get the magazine sent through, and then you're in there with all the other models, and you think, oh, that looks like a model. She looks good. She looks good. And then you see yourself, and you're like, how did they even pick that picture? How did that picture get published? You then start thinking, you dig deeper. If anything, I think becoming a model has made my body dysmorphia 20, 30, 40 times worse.
Would you ever stop being a model because of it?
This is my next step. I want to start, obviously, talking to other models, trying to get into a different, still be in the industry, but a different angle. Like, there's loads of girls out there. We can go on shoots and possibly half of them could be suffering it. Yeah. You'll know because we walk around in big, massive hoodies. We'd be really covered up, quickly take our things off to do the shoot, and then we're back covered up again.
Oh, wow.
Like, you feel weird, people looking at your body, but it's all in your head.
Yeah. Do you think that skinnier girls, do you think they feel it? Because now obviously the thing is to be curvy. So it's like, if you don't have that shape, social media will portray that you're probably, you know, you're not of the standard because you haven't, not saying you're not of the standard, but that's maybe how they
The trouble is, from what models used to look like and to what models look like now, obviously I'm a tattooed model, I'm completely covered in tattoos. That kind of hides my shape a bit. It doesn't make me look a set way.
Yeah.
Obviously you can still see my curves, but I stand out for that reason. Then you'll get a whole bunch of girls that look the same because that is what the modelling industry was. They now feel weird because we're now doing the photos, and where we was pushed out for having tattoos, now tattoos have been accepted and you're in there, and sometimes they might ask more for the tattooed models than the ones with no tattoos, or they might ask for the curvier girls and not the smaller girls. I think doing anything in the modelling industry plays with your head. Definitely plays with your head. Whether you're big, small, curvy, tall, short, we all feel we're not good enough.
That's really sad, because I can imagine your pictures come out beautiful. So
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many likes you get. I've turned all mine off on social media. I don't have my likes showing. Don't have my comments showing. I've turned it off because it was like you're reading it all, but you're not seeing it. So it has a knock-on effect just from that.
This must really affect younger kids as well. Like, not kids, but girls, younger girls, maybe even men as well, because, you know, like, you got to have that six-pack, you got to be in the gym, you got to be this type of way to be seen. Even, like, slimmer girls, they want to be thicker. What should I say?
Yeah, girls with no boobs, girls with boobs, girls with a bum, girls with no bum. Like, everyone... We'll probably go to a shoot and I'll be like, oh, I want to look like her. That girl's probably saying, oh, I want to look like you. But you're not knowing that. And you're always wanting to, I don't know, I can't say better yourself, but you want to look like someone else.
Yeah, I think it's like you just always want what you don't have, isn't it? No matter how beautiful you are, I feel like there's always someone out there that you think, oh, she's prettier, she's got a better body, I want to look like her, I need to fit in, and I need to do a BBL like everyone else, so I've got to get my boobs done so I don't have to wear a bra.
Social media
doesn't help.
Is probably the worst. If you think back to like your nan and granddad being together, there wasn't, it didn't matter what you looked like, did it? Like they literally were together and that was it. Your mum and dad, they were together and that was it. Now, because they've got social media, it's like, oh, she looked better. So they're always looking for the greener grass. And then that makes you feel like, well, I'm not worthy or I'm not enough. And all you ever want to be is enough for that person. And then in your head, you're like, oh, I can't do it. This is how I feel inside is now projecting on the outside. And it's having a knock-on effect with your normal life. Social media. You then start looking at photos and you save their photos because you want to look like them.
That's how a lot of people get anorexic, isn't it? Because, well, they used, I don't know if this is still
definitely.
popular,
It's still out there, bulimia, all of it is still out there and it's still so bad.
That's really sad. Does the doctors... Is it prescribed? Like, is it a medical...
So
I'm not laughing now, but is it...
It's mad because of how it sounds.
Yeah.
And when you get people that look a set way, like, people always say to me, but you look like that. How can you think like that when you look like that? It's in your head.
Your head, yeah.
It's in your head. The doctor makes you do like a little survey of 50 questions. And then depending on what your percentage comes out on Google, that's you being diagnosed. That's them saying this is what you've got.
So do they give you like...
They give you counselling.
Oh.
And that's it.
Because that's going to help, isn't it?
That's it. You talk to someone about how you feel you're large or the issues that you have with yourself. That's it. That's
not really enough. I think there should be more.
I think they can't medicate you, and then obviously you don't want everybody to chuck tablets.
No, of course not.
So it's quite a hard one to actually diagnose and to actually treat because it is in your head.
It's horrible. That's a hard thing to deal with, I think, actually. What's your opinions on it?
I wanted to ask you, what age did you go into the modelling industry?
I actually only went into it when I was 38.
38?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was because they approached me. I'd never ever thought about doing modelling. I did a photo shoot maybe like 25 years ago, and that was just for like some pool table. They wanted some pictures in their fins and I was approached.
Yeah.
I did that, didn't think anything of it. And then obviously when I was 38, I got the message saying, oh, you've been scouted and to go for it. And I was thinking, what the hell? And yeah.
So then they find you on social media?
On social media.
What, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It was UK Calendar Girls.
Yeah.
And they do a big, massive competition.
Yeah.
and the girls range from like 18. I think 40 was the highest.
Yeah.
And obviously in my one, I was the oldest in that time. And I came first.
What did you do before modelling?
I'm a personal trainer.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I was a lot larger and made changes and done everything. And then I thought, do you know how it made me feel? I felt, yeah, this is really good. And then a lot of other people approached me, and that's what I was doing.
If you could give advice to anyone that suffers with that's maybe younger than you, what would you advise them to do? Like, do you have any tips or?
I would actually say avoid social media. Avoid looking at famous people because we all compare. Oh, I want to look like Kim K. I want to look like this. I want to look like that. You're not seeing them without their makeup on. You're not seeing them how they everyday look.
Yeah.
So in our heads, oh, they're queens. They're beautiful. We want to be like them. Really and truly, they are us. They're the same, but just with more money in the bank, bit more status.
So how do you, like, it's a lot of maintenance being a model.
Yeah.
So an average, how much is the expenditure, say, a month? To the maintenance, as females, even
So-
as
so,
not
yeah.
a model, it's expensive sometimes.
It's getting your hair done, getting your nails done, getting your lashes done. If your Botox is due, your lip fillers if they're due, new outfits, you're going to need 10 to 20 outfits to take with you to the shoot. Then you're going to need shoes to go with those outfits because some of the
About
heels that
waxing,
you've got,
laser.
everything. Like, it is
Yeah.
expensive. It's not something that I would say, yeah, go get into modelling. It fell to me, but I wouldn't, for the stress and the aggro and the bitchiness, all of that, and the pressure from the photographers and the companies, it's not worth it.
So the photographers, were they predominantly all male?
Always. I've never had a shoot where we've had a woman photographer.
Right. And that is probably where, I mean, statistically, that you
Yeah.
know, we need some more female photographers.
Yeah, 100%. And then the pressure, because photographers end up pressurising the younger lot,
Yeah.
thinking they have to do certain stuff because that's going to get them to the top.
Right.
And where they're younger, they will take that on board and think, I have to do that to get well.
So if he says undress more, show more,
yeah,
she'll do it.
they'll do it.
And how young are they?
The youngest girls we've had shoot with us is 17. They're babies.
They don't know. They're too vulnerable.
And were they scouted? Sorry, Jane. Were
Either
they?
scouted, or what they tend to do is they'll go through your Instagram list of followers
Oh, right.
and then they follow. They take the girls off your page. So they could actually try and follow your daughter and then start messaging her. They literally scout, take them and mould them.
Right, predators.
It's pretty scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not nice. That isn't nice. Do you have any advice you could give to?
I think the first point I want to make when we think about body dysmorphia is it often we can when we look at kind of when we work with people, and often we'll do like family systemic work, something like that. What we find is it's just about a lack of control. And actually, it's, as you've rightly said, it's not about how you actually appear. It's about this sense of control and your sense of identity. And it's for a lot of people, that's the one thing that they've kind of got that's theirs. And diagnostically speaking, in treatment, from a treatment perspective, there's just unfortunately no funding. There is the NHS, God love it, is amazing, but in terms of meaningful interventions for people suffering from really any form, unfortunately, of mental health disorder, we don't, yeah, there isn't a service. So people are dependent on private health and well-being, which obviously requires money, and it's a real tragedy that there needs to be a kind of review of particularly in these areas, and we need to be looking at much more community-based approach and much more open conversations around these things, like you
And I
guys
feel
are doing.
mental health is more out there now. It's now becoming big, whereas before it was if a man cried in the street or something, it was
swept under.
don't cry, you're a man. Whereas now it's actually cry if you want to cry, like have thoughts, have feelings, like be yourself.
But men oppress their feelings a lot. because it's not masculine.
They're worried about being judgment.
Probably their upbringing as
And
well.
it comes back to these
Yeah.
intergenerational and systemic trauma. When we look at the majority of mental health disturbances, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So when I say intergenerational, it's obviously the various different narratives, family stories, belief structures that are passed down between
Yeah.
generations. And then we have systemic trauma. If someone's already experiencing intergenerational trauma and then they go into the school system, the chances are they're receiving negative messages that are reinforcing this stuff. If they have a chaotic home life, or they're labelled as disruptive or that. How many people now being diagnosed with ADHD, all of this kind of stuff. And I've just totally lost my train of thought.
Is there forums and groups for body
Yeah,
dysmorphia?
there's loads. Facebook is pretty good for that. They have so many on there. And even just going into Google, the NHS have actually got a page. I wouldn't say it really helps, but it enlightens it. It shows like it is an issue, and a lot of people are out there suffering with it, and there is no cure.
It's education, isn't it? I think when you're talking about social media, this is one of the big problems, and we can educate people to have really healthy social media. So we can educate people to, work with the TikTok algorithm and just get lovely witch talk and, all of these mine.
Witch talk?
Yeah, mine's just full of middle-aged ladies who know a lot about plant medicine, offering me tarot readings.
I think that's showing you your search history.
I know, do you know what I mean? But I love it. And it's great, but it's just positive affirmations. But there are times when I look on my friends and I'm just like, wow, why are you doing that to yourself? Like all the news and, and just this constant pressure. And actually just educating kids better on how to manage social media, how to engage with social media.
I feel like social media's kind of lost its purpose.
Yeah.
Like what it was there for. Facebook was friends and family, wasn't it? And then obviously Instagram, you share a picture, but now it's become
just marketing. And this is the thing, is that people are now, that like as the structure of society changes and industry changes, what we're left with is people basically having to turn themselves into a product.
Yeah.
And this is the marketplace now for most people. Well, not most people, but this is the way it's going.
And now all the filters, like you get Snapchat.
Oh god.
It filters your face, so
You do look pretty.
But you don't even recognise yourself. I can't bear them because they don't look like me. And I'm
and
like,
they post them up and you think, who's that?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
No, it's not, babes. But you put it up because it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
You think, well, I look like that and that makes me look better than how I look, so I'm going to use that photo.
Yeah, but it's pretty scary when the filter disappears and then you're like, oh.
yeah, that is the worst.
I
isn't
feel
it?
sorry for guys because they chat to these women and then
Like
they're like, I'm
catfishing.
going to meet, oh my god, look at her, show the phone. Then they turn up and then they're calling their mates like, mate, I don't even know what happened. She looks like a totally different girl because this has gone, this has gone, this has gone, this has gone because filters have gone. Like, you've got to be real. Put your picture up how you look because I know if I ever go for a shoot, and I've actually been on a shoot where the girl messaged me, we both supplied our photos, we got to the shoot, and this girl's standing over there looking at me and I'm thinking, it can't be her, it can't be her. And she's looking. Her photos were so filtered, edited.
Yeah.
It was a whole new person standing in front of me and it was the same girl. And then when the guy come, he was like, who are you? And I was like, that's the girl you hired. He's like, no. And he showed me and I went, that's the girl you hired. Because in her head, she felt she needed to look differently, completely moulded herself into something else. And obviously being a model, they're looking, right, you look like that, so I want you for 2 hours, I want to do this shoot, blah, blah, blah. Imagine you're looking like that and then you turn up and you're completely different.
It is sad that we sometimes can't see ourselves from the lens of someone else's eyes, because we'd actually see how beautiful we are inside and out, and if we could, that would be amazing.
Life would be easy.
It would be so much easier, because we all wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, or halfway through the day when you're tired and you think, oh God, I just need some makeup, someone help me. I'm exhausted, I look exhausted, I feel exhausted. We've all mucked about with filters, but we don't need it. We actually don't need it. Half of the things we do, we don't need. But it is social media making us feel like...
we can't love the skin we're in.
Yeah.
It's really hard to.
And as
And
you
it's a
rightly
shame.
as you rightly said, you take a beautiful photograph of yourself and you think, oh, I'll just chuck a filter on that.
Yeah.
Then you once you've put that filter on, that photograph that you once thought was really beautiful, actually, like you saying, it's just
It's not actually
Yeah.
beautiful. You just look the same as
Well,
everyone
men are lucky;
else.
they don't have to do all this,
Yeah.
do they?
Well, I don't know about that.
You
I
know.
think they've got different
You
issues.
think they're going to go in front of Snapchat and put a filter and,
No,
sort
because
of like,
they-
oh, look,
they don't
I
worry
look great
about-
for this girl or
I
something.
don't think it hits men as much
Well,
as
they're
it
not
hits
worrying
women.
about if their eyebrows are not on point or if they've got a little spot or
Only the
or they
Essex
got a little
boys
bit
do.
of grey
I have
hair.
to say that.
Oh,
Only the Essex
yeah.
boys, they would do. They'll go the
They're
whole
like
night.
pretty boys.
I'm
They
telling
really
you,
wanna
honestly, they just really do the
take more time in the
Botox.
bathroom than a woman.
Yeah, they do the eyebrows, they do waxing. I know people laser everything.
I've been in the nail shop and a guy's come in and
Yeah.
had his toes and hands done, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like, just looking. But why shouldn't they?
I don't think there's
They are
anything wrong with
embracing
that.
it.
Yeah,
They're
why
not
shouldn't they?
I'm not a fan of men wearing nail varnish, but
No.
having your toes done
Yeah,
and
and
getting
then-
your nails
yeah, you know,
done,
like
that
some
is
men
fine.
got dirt under their
Yeah,
nails.
it's
That's
nice to go in
that's
and they look
off-putting.
fresh.
That's
Yeah.
off-putting. I know if you're a mechanic or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm just looking at my nails.
No, I'm hiding mine. 'Cause- I'm actually hiding mine because my nail tech. You're gonna watch this. I'm still waiting for her. Been waiting for about 3 weeks.
She come up barking.
I'm really
inside.
autistic, so I can't actually wear nail varnish because I feel like my nails are suffocating. I can wear them for about a day and then
That's it, gotta take them off.
look at. I'm like, I mean, obviously I do body work as well, but yeah, I can't.
I've had nails for like 20 something years. I took them off. I did a bricklaying course. And I took them
wow.
off. Yeah. I don't even know why. I actually went to college for another course and they told
Yeah.
me it was full. And I was like, well, what can I do then? And they said, well, bricklaying's free. And I was
Good
like,
on
"Go
you. You
then."
can do an extension.
So yeah, I literally just took it.
Amazing.
And the guy made me take my nails off. I lasted like 2 or 3 days and then I snuck the nails on, but really like short. And then they grew in. And then when we was about 5 or 6 months into it, he went, "You've got nails on?" I said, "Yeah, I've had them from 3 days in." He was like, "How did you do that?" I said, "I snuck them on." Because it made me feel like, I felt like I had really man's hands without my nails.
Your nails,
So
yeah.
it's mad, these little things, like without our eyelashes. We all went for years with no eyelashes.
Yeah.
Until it became a massive issue or a massive, oh, we need them. I would never not have eyelashes now.
You feel bald, don't
Yeah,
you?
it's weird.
Is it bald, whatever? Yeah.
See, again, I can't wear them. I put them on. I've worn them about twice in my life, and they're kind of hanging off. But I'm one of those people. I just touch my friend.
People are always like,
She
"I've
said
got
it's like
shutters
it's
on."
like putting lashes on a little boy because I'm just like, get off me.
But it's the price of beauty.
Yeah.
It's what we do to ourselves because we think it's going to make us look better.
Yeah.
What a set of eyelashes going to do to a person's face?
No, they
you
do.
know?
They do make a big difference. I'm sorry.
Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for modelling? Or are you doing it for you validated by the
I feel
male?
like I've got addictive personality, so
Right.
now I feel like I've got so addicted to having them.
Is this
Right.
where the tattoos?
you have to.
what
Yeah,
happened with
and the tattoos. I started and didn't have hardly any. If you look at me, 2020, and you look at me now, you think it's two different women.
Does
and
it feel
people are the same-
therapeutic when you have a tattoo?
I used to self-harm,
Right.
so I would scar up my skin, and then when I was old enough, I started to tattoo
Right.
over it,
Yeah.
and then that was it. That became my go-to. So if someone pissed me off or someone upset me,
Tattoo.
I split up with my partner. I was with him for 7 years. We was engaged, going to get married, everything.
Mm.
Split up. I went and got a whole tattoo sleeve. And then obviously he's called me and he hates tattoos. And I was like, a bit late now. I've got this done. So it's
Probably why you
like,
did it.
just yeah, it's really mental.
Mm.
And I don't feel the pain. Like my neck, everyone says, "Don't that hurt?" I feel nothing. I feel like I'm detached from my emotions.
What does your neck tattoo what's that symbol?
So that is just a heart with a lock.
Yeah.
And underneath it's got "Be your own kind of beautiful."
Oh, nice.
Because we're obviously always trying to chase everyone else's beauty.
Mm.
We've got to try and be our own somehow.
Do you think you don't feel the pain because of what you used to do with the self-harming, or?
I think I just shut down. Like I had a shit childhood.
Right.
My mum left. My dad brought us up. It's just from then, and then I brought my brothers up, and now I've got my niece and nephew. I just feel like when's my break? I've never had that. So I'm just keep going, keep smiling, no matter what I feel inside. Smile on the face and just keep going.
With regards to the pain of tattoos, I've noticed this. I mean, I've got quite a lot. I've got
you've got
some gnarly ones, and I've got a tiger all the way down here. I literally fell asleep. They're like, this is the most painful place for anyone to be tattooed. And I was like, oh no, it's fine.
And then you just want to
because I was in pain. I was in emotional pain. And the body...
So then your body detaches.
It doesn't just detach. It actually sends natural painkillers. So your pain thresholds when you're experiencing emotional pain can often go up. It's like a kind of like numbing thing overall. And then so most of these I've had done and I haven't felt much. And then I've got a moth just across here that was quite biblically painful, like on one tiny spot.
Why a moth and not a butterfly? What's that signify?
Oh, because I'm a goth, babe. I'm all about the darkness. Can't have a butterfly. That's way too girly. I've got to have...
Oh.
I don't know. It's the
Are you joking with me or that?
No, I am
serious.
serious.
No, I'm just.
I don't really like butterflies. I like moths. I like nocturnal creatures. This one in particular is the lunar moth, and it survives only for a couple of days. It has no mouth. It becomes a moth. It fucks. It has a baby. It dies.
Oh.
Wow.
And I kind of like the simplicity of that life. You know, and so I've always been quite into lunar moths, but so I have the moth here, and there's just one little spot, and now when I have other tattoos, that spot flares up. It aches. But
so if I want to laser my foot, should I just go through emotional pain? Because I'm really scared. So
that's the way forward.
And then go get it done.
Exactly.
How many sessions do you think it's going to take to get that off?
If it's just writing, it would be one. Get them high volt blast. 2 tops.
Get some numbing cream on
It's not going to work, honestly.
I feel like when you numb it though, you
makes it
bruise.
worse.
Yeah, you bruise. Like, they say you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't feel it while it's getting done, but trust me, you're going to feel it later
And that's
on.
exactly what happened with this. I tried a bit of numbing cream because it was like, it's a really high detail colour, and it was just, it was so much to deal with. And the numbing pain not only didn't work, it actually created scar tissue and stuff. And I've got now snakes up my back. And I had it done in memory of my mum.
Oh wow! You can't see. It's not actually black ink.
It's white ink.
It's a white ink.
Yes,
I love that.
So what does that mean? Will it go luminous in some light? Or?
No, it's just white ink. But when I had the first,
I'm sorry, I'm
UV.
just. Yeah, I thought the UV. That's a bit of an Essex question, anyway.
But when I went and had the first session, I actually kind of contracted with myself just to fucking feel it. And it was brutal. I mean, I was like wailing and screaming, and he's going from one side of my back, across my spine to the other. But for my next session, I was like, actually, I've had that. The pain has been processed, the pain of the loss of my mum, and it was to honour her and stuff. Went and had the other session, and the sensation was the same, but this time I'm laughing. And I'm giggling and I'm making like weird operatic noises. And my tattooist is a shamanic. He uses like
ceremonial tattooing practices and stuff. So he's like drumming and we're chanting together.
Oh wow,
it's brilliant. But it's just interesting that just the decision to experience it differently prior to going in and the impact that that had on how I actually sort of experienced it.
Sorry, but why did you get a snake to represent your mum?
Okay.
Sorry.
So
I'm being rude.
No,
way, so
no, it's cool. I come from a family of, I'm I suppose a hereditary witch. I come from a family of like medicine women and healers. And my mum was quite involved with a group called the Sannyasins.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of a man called Osho. There's a film about him called Wild Country on Netflix. But anyway, we won't go into that. It's a bit of a cult. But my mum was quite into Kundalini yoga practice. And the Kundalini just represent the Kundalini represents a number. I can't have lost the ability to speak. The snakes represent the Kundalini energy, and the chakra points of your system.
Right. So that makes sense.
But also, we're all kind of like doctors and healers and blah blah. So the snakes also represent kind of medicine and healing.
Do you know any medicines that could maybe help Nicola with her when she's feeling a little bit sad?
Yes.
Some healing techniques.
Yes.
Would you be interested?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. One of the best things, I've got to be honest, is plant medicine.
What kind of plant medicine?
Like
smoke
some weed or something.
Smoke some weed. Well, I mean, weed is one of the most beautiful healing substances on earth. It literally does everything. As long as like it's you know where it's coming from, the efficacy of it. I've got friends that work with it medicinally, and they get it all lab tested, and you can change the CBDA or the CBD, for what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But also psychedelic journeys like mushrooms,
Just even microdosing mushrooms now.
Someone said about microdosing it. It's like you go into a hallucination, but it will take you to the dark places that you got trauma or
Probably
fear
not with
from.
a microdose. With a microdose, it's a small dose, and you wouldn't really have any kind of like psychoactive effect from it.
It's not like trips or acid.
No, not in a
Okay.
microdose. So a microdose is somewhere around like a 0.2 grams. Maybe you go up to 4 if you're microdosing, and it works essentially like an antidepressant.
Have you heard of the smoking of the toad?
Yeah, Bufo.
Yeah. So a friend of mine did that.
And Iboga is the other one.
And he was really, really, really badly depressed. He was really bad towards his partner, children. It was having such a knock-on effect. So he did that. It reset his body.
It does.
Really?
Reset everything.
But-
And a lot of people with addictions tend to do that.
And
as
actually, the guy that started up AA, he was a real advocate for psychedelics for use for because one of my specialties is addiction. He actually he was a real fan of LSD, particularly for addiction therapy. But of course, then with prohibition in America, they just had to stop all the research straight away. And there were so many trials going on, and they thankfully have now started the trials up again.
Wow.
So there've been some trials recently in the last few years at Imperial.
I wouldn't
College.
have believed it. It's only because someone I know's done it, and obviously their experience to see what they was like and to see what they are now.
It's phenomenal, but it
Neuro.
comes with a big warning, because a lot of people going off to like doing ayahuasca and all of those kind of stuff. This is not necessarily the medicine of our people, and these not necessarily the practices that work with our kind of cultural heritage and how we're raised. I mean, Osho says Westerners just simply can't meditate because we're so separated from source, whereas in the East and in other philosophies, everything is one, like nature and your environment. And, and when we take plant medicine, it really takes us back to that kind of place of just like primal being. And so I think when we're doing plant medicine, one of the most important things is intention setting. Like, I don't think psychedelics are particularly good for recreational use. They're for ceremonial use, they're for healing. So making sure that you're intention setting, making sure that you have had a little conversation with the medicine first before you do a big dose. So a heroic dose would be sort of maybe like 6 grams, 5 or 6 grams. And just checking in with the medicine, with a little microdose in the run up to it, making sure the person that's holding space for you feel totally safe with, and just being open to absolutely anything that comes up. And
Have you done any therapy with anyone with body dysmorphia?
I personally not done therapy with people with body dysmorphia, but have worked an awful lot with addiction, with identity, with the kind of, for me, it's all about the narrative and the stories.
Yeah.
So one of the things I work a lot with, this concept of like, people talk a lot about being triggered. Oh, I've been triggered. And that puts you in a victim. That puts someone else is doing that to you.
The word can trigger people as well. Just
Yeah.
even, everyone's sensitive now. We've got to be very sensitive what you say.
Yeah.
Even he, she, her, him, miss,
Totally.
whatever.
Everything.
And people say, oh, I'm not going to speak. They take
There's no
everything
resilience.
literal, what you say, one word, and it can blow out of context.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like
texting
sometimes
as well.
texting is
Yes,
the
that's what I
worst
just said, snap.
because
Exactly.
you read that text and it could have been sent in the most nicest
Innocent,
way,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you
It's
read
just been
it
reframed.
because
Yeah.
they've missed the full stop and they've missed that, and it's
Yeah.
da 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 da. All of a sudden, you're ready to attack. And
Yeah.
I think it also depends on what
Defense.
mood you're in. Because if you're in a good mood and you read the text, you'll be like, oh, that's lovely. If you read it and you're in a bad mood, you're like, who are you talking to?
taking a pee.
Yeah. Like, you're ready to die through the phone because you just don't know.
Yeah, it's
What?
true.
And so this is the kind of centre of my work, this idea. So it's transforming the idea of triggers into activation. So now, if I'm triggered by something, I think, oh my God, thank you. I've been activated. Something that someone else has done has brought something, a shadow aspect. And by shadow aspect, we means the parts of ourselves that we suppress. But these are often, ironically, the parts of other people that trigger us the most when we judge. When we're triggered by someone, when we're it's always something that we dislike or are upset or have hidden about ourselves. And so for me, just working with this idea of reframing trigger into activation, whenever it happens, I'm like, oh lovely, there's a little gift, there's a little seed, there's something for me to look at, for me to take
You
responsibility
get little
for.
signs throughout.
And now whenever I get triggered, now I'm activated, it's always positive.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, that's
It's
interesting.
about channeling the mind, isn't
Yeah.
it? So sometimes we're on the defence, aren't we? As soon as someone says something to us, we go for the negative rather than seeing the positive in it. we take the negative and like that, and then really and truly it could be something so mini that it's not really going to have a massive effect on your life. Take it on board what they've said and move on. Instead we take it like this, end it like that, and before you know it, you're in a full scale.
And half the time, a lot of these stories that we have, a lot of these triggers that we have aren't even ours. You know, like there's a lot of kind of evidence to suggest that a baby in a mummy's in his mother's tummy will receive like the stress hormones.
I believe in that.
I believe in that.
Baby
is then
with his baby, when he had a baby, he made sure that his wife had no
didn't
stress,
scream, didn't cry.
She weren't allowed to scream during labour. It was very regimented because he believes in all the science.
Ironically, probably made it a lot more scary for her, but
yeah, and that's sometimes how people work, I suppose.
But yeah, I think that so when we're picking up these stories, so this little fetus has got no context for the anxiety, but they've got some enough information, so they've had this stress hormone kick in, and their little body as it's growing and being programmed is picking up all of these stories, and like, you know, we were all inside our grandmothers in the form of an egg, and when people have digressed a bit heart transplants, then they're experiencing food cravings and things from this other person, and they've just got their organs. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility to think that our egg growing inside our grandmother is receiving some kind of imprint from her. So these stories that we're being triggered by, sometimes we can't really go to therapy and unpick what our trauma is because it's not ours.
And
it's our grandmother's or our,
something years and years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It stemmed to something else, to that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's why you are like that. But you need to break it all down to try and find out what actually started. What was the main trigger?
And this is why psychedelics are good, because it strips all of that and you are just present.
Do you do it on your own? So do people do it on their own, or is it?
Yeah.
Would you recommend it with a good person to do it with? For example, you do it, both of you doing it together.
Well, obviously I can't recommend it because it's illegal, but I would recommend... I'm joking. What I would recommend is if you were going to do it, that you have a sitter who may have taken so most of the people I know that have worked in this area, the sort of medicine people will maybe take a small amount of the medicine. So maybe...
Like a trial run first.
No, that if they're giving someone a dose of, say, 3 or 4 grams, they might take a 0.5.
Oh.
So that they're still lucid, but they're actually working with the medicine as well. Lots of people don't take any medicine when they're sitting with people. Like obviously during the trials, the psychotherapists weren't on mushrooms when they were sitting with people. But I mean, have a look at it. It's the Imperial College. The information
I've heard
stuff
of
that's coming out.
College.
The stuff that's coming out of this research is really interesting. There also is a lot of research on ketamine for end of life care because it just eradicates your fear of death.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you just do the ketamine and then...
And then you but in a held space, you know, and in terms of people's anxieties for end of life care, for palliative care, it's remarkable. Yeah, the outcomes have been incredible.
I think I'd be more scared to do the ketamine. I'm just a chicken anyway. So.
You mean they want to end their life?
No.
Sorry. Let's just
terminally unwell.
Right. Okay.
And people are then administered a dose of ketamine as a psychotherapeutic intervention to reduce their anxiety or fear around death.
To relax them.
Okay.
No, it's actually a process that happens when the individual's on ketamine that from what I understand, there's a sense of being separated from your body.
Oh.
And so then the kind of integration process just allows them to take that feeling and hold that feeling, and it just reduces their anxiety around death.
Instead of just injecting them morphine, what hospitals do.
Well, morphine is obviously a pain relief, but
Yeah.
in this particular example, it's ketamine therapy from a psychotherapeutic perspective, specifically to reduce the fear of death in end of life care. Yeah.
Oh, was that helpful for you?
I feel like I've learned a lot.
I've learned a lot as well today. Like
Definitely learned
we're coming
a lot.
back to your zone, Brighton.
Oh yeah, anytime.
Shall we burn some fire by the
There'll be
sea?
sage, yeah.
Sage, you know. I feel like having a good weekend up
Yeah,
there. We'll tell Roach.
Definitely.
Well, thank you, Nicola, for sharing that
Busy
with
been
us
hiding
and
you.
giving us the insight of how it feels to have body dysmorphia. It's really sad, and I really hope that you can just overcome it, because you are beautiful. So
Thank you.
don't let social media make you feel any type of way. Keep doing your modelling if you want to, that is, and just go for it. But we'll be back, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. See you soon.